Alison is giving her third speech in the Competent Communicator Manual. Get to the point. The title of her speech is Prospector Square Improvements. For this speech, Alison asks that you imagine you are a property owner within the Prospector Square Commercial District as she walks you through future plans for the area. At this time, not everything is determined regarding the project, including how it is funded. But her goal is to create excitement for the improvements and engage property owners throughout the process, ultimately asking for funding assistance at a future date. Her objectives for the speech are to organize the speech in a manner that best achieves these purposes, to ensure the beginning, body, and conclusion reinforce the purpose, to project sincerity and conviction and control any nervousness, and she will strive not to use notes. The time limit for her speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. Please welcome Alison.
Well, thank you for coming here today. I'm excited to tell you about what's going on with Prospector Square and our improvement projects. So to give you a bit of a background, Prospector Square is an area within Park City, and it's a larger area than the area that I work with. I work for the Prospector Square Property Owners Association, and we work within this area, within this red boundary. So let me give you some points to orient yourself as I begin speaking. So the first yellow circle is Alberto's. The second yellow circle is the more improved access to the rail trail. Then we've got the grub stake up here. The Marriott's going to go in the center, and then the old Pizza Hut. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you are. So Prospector Square, we are a, wow, this is dark, two-dimensional condominium plat. I need to use my hands. It's a two-dimensional condominium plat. So if you think about it, every building is on its own individual lot, and the land surrounding the buildings are all common area. So for us, the common area is this area, the walkway behind all the buildings and the parking lots. Prospector Square was platted back in 1974, and the majority of the improvements are about 35 years old, and we're in need of a refresh. And so going through this, I've talked with the board, and with the board we come up with some basic goals and objectives for the area. We want to make it fun for people to walk around. We want to add vibrancy. We want to make sure our lighting is good and that our irrigation system is up to speed. We have an irrigation system that is 35 years old and is not water-wise, so we want to be able to do our best to be able to use resources wisely. And we know as a board and as an organization, we always don't know all the answers. And so what we did is we held 2 public outreach sessions. We did a ambush open house at the front door of Alberto's last February, where during lunchtime we had people come and answer surveys, and if they came and talked to us about our maps, we gave them a coupon for a free churro. We then had a more formal open house at the Marriott, where we were able to draw over 100 people. And with that, we were able to get a lot of information as far as what Prospector Square should be, what we should maintain, and how we should improve. And so again, people really feel that Prospector Square is affordable. They like the connection to the rail trail, and they talked about it being family friendly and a place for people to gather and to come. So what we did is we took that information and we took a look at what we have on the site. We looked at where our entrances and exits are within the development, and we looked at what our uses are. Majority of the uses within Prospector Square are office uses, so an attorney, an accountant. We also have a lot of health and wellness. We have lodging, and then we also have residence. So when you put that all together, we really truly are a mixed-use development where people live and work in Prospector Square, and that's something that we wanted to keep. But noticing that we are heavily office, what we are finding is that our parking lots are at capacity between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. And so anything that we're looking to do, we want to make sure that we're not exacerbating that situation and that we're actually trying to mitigate it and help it. So we looked at parking, we looked at what we had, where things are, and how many spaces. And then as well, we looked at what are our utilities, and I apologize, some of these are a little bit blurry. But if you would like a copy at the end of the meeting, I'm happy to email it to you. So we actually have our own sewer system within Prospector Square. It's very exciting. It's one of my favorite parts of the job. But what it is it's a sewer system that we need to upgrade. And if we're able to upgrade this, we can hand this over to the Snyderville Basin Water Reclamation District, and it no longer needs to be on our hands. So that's another goal that we have for this project. So as we put all this information together and we talk to the public, you start to see some change to our goals. We talk about being environmentally sensitive and economically productive. So this is more than just a beautification project that we're looking at. We're looking at how we can really boost this area as a commercial district and as a residential district so that it continues to be an asset to the city and bring in sales tax and property tax as well. And as I said before, let's look at how we can bring people to the area during the evening hours. And how can we look again still at our signage, our lighting, and safety. So not forgetting our basic goals as well. There are issues, like with any project, and there's things that you can't, or are difficult to make pretty, like trash receptacles. And as well, it's very obvious to us that we are disconnected. We aren't necessarily connected pedestrian-wise to the neighborhoods next to us. And so we want to be able to work on that so that we are a walkable community throughout town. So the next step that we did is we looked at areas that we really liked. And we looked at plazas and lighting and even just snow removal strategies. How can we look at doing things better? And how can we take those best practices that we learned from other projects and take that and have learned for ourselves what we want in our area? So what we came up with is the Prospector Square Master Plan, and this was approved by the board in July. And what this does is really start to look at pedestrian crossings across the streets, adding some street trees, and really just beautification of the area. Adding things like outdoor dining or improving the outdoor dining that we have. So again, to orient you on this map, we've got Alberto's with the circle, the rail trail, formal access, grub steak, we've got the Marriott Hotel, and then Pizza Hut. So really just keeping within our boundaries, but really looking at how we can improve this. And a benefit to this project is that in 2017, Prospector Avenue, the street here to the bottom, is going to be fully reconstructed, and that's already funded by the city. So we're not only seeing improvements from ourselves, but we're seeing improvements from the city. So we looked at our material palette, what we like to see, wood and steel. That really goes back to the mining history and concrete, kind of a more utilitarian look that you find in Park City, and that's what we'd like to do. We looked at lighting strategies. Lighting is not just for safety, but also ambiance. So how can we add that ambiance to really draw people into the evening hours? And then streetscape. How can we add dining along the streets? How can we widen our sidewalks and add street trees so that it becomes a more softer edge to Prospector Square? So up here on the left, we've got Fuego. I think most people are familiar with where Fuego is. It's a pizza place. There's the grub steak if you're not, kind of gets you oriented. But talking about how we add outdoor dining in certain areas and how can we improve. And even over on this picture, we can make our trash receptacles look a little bit better and hide them from the everyday. But there is a cost to this project, and the cost is $6.1 million. And this is something that we're starting to look through and identify our funding sources. And one thing that we felt was really important is to do an economic impact study to make sure that the money we're spending in Prospector Square can be brought back out. Whether looking at how much you're renting your building for, and can that increase? Is it compatible and competitive within the marketplace? And as well, if you have a unit, whether you're residential or even a commercial property owner, what is the for sale scenario? How much money or how much more is your property worth once we spend this? So this is going to be brought to us. This economic impact study is going to be complete in January of 2016. And then from that, we're going to begin our schematic and design development to understand and really plan out every inch of Prospector Square. Our goal is to secure funding by July of 2016, with our first phase of construction starting in the spring of 2017. So what can you do right now? We're in a bit of a holding pattern. We're waiting for some information to come back in January, but I'm asking you to stay engaged. Read your emails and think about your property and think about how you can improve it and what we're looking to do around you. And please give me a call, give me an email if you've got questions, concerns. I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.